working well. If I go out, that's okay. Just let me know if you would.
I will.
So I usually give it till about 5 after, see if
Yeah, yeah,
anyone's coming in. There were four
yeah.
of us last weekend, and one told me she wasn't going to be able to make it. I thought the others, I mean, they have other things too, so who knows?
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm sure they'll be back. If not
Yeah,
today, then.
yeah, and luckily it just keeps telling us the same thing in a different way so that cut off all of the ego's exit plans.
I know, I
Uh,
love it.
yeah, I mean, it could be one sentence, two sentences can make all the difference. And it's enough. It's like it's available now. Yeah. We
Brad,
don't
meet
have to be.
Rebecca. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi. Zoom likes to give me a hard time sometimes. I have to sign in. It's at
Yeah.
their screen. So
It's all
I'd love
good.
to get back in.
Happy to see you.
Happy to see you guys too.
We're just gonna
So,
give it till 5 after.
is this Brad?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Brad.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. Where are you from?
New
I
Hampshire.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Maureen's up in my territory now.
Yeah.
And you know what? And you know what we say up here? We don't have hurricanes. We don't have alligators. We
But you
don't.
do have a lot of snow.
We just have snow. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get snow. They're all acting like it's a lot. It's like, I don't know, 4 inches. I don't know. It's winter,
Yeah. It's
you know.
beautiful here. I enjoy it.
Yeah. It's like I can't think of any other spot in the United States I'd rather move to, other than my cousin's house in Texas. I don't ask me why this liberal girl loves Texas, but she does.
Yeah. Texas. I was
I always have a really good time down there, and my dad was from Texas, so
oh, okay.
yeah. And I still have an uncle. His brother, who is 83, is there, so we try to see him a couple times a year.
Yeah. Come over here.
I I got a cold. I haven't been sick in fact, this is how long it's been sick. I had to throw away cold medicine. It was 4 years expired.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just doing it naturally, just trying to get through it.
I've been dealing with issues. I think it's just stress related from the move, my
Yeah,
thyroid.
you're going to see a
Just been
lot of that.
rough.
Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know. I think I don't move because I just don't know if my brain can handle it.
It's been awful.
Especially when you're moving.
Could always be worse, but
Yeah, you could be moving to the woods in a tent, but you're not. So that's good. Uh,
Yeah. Things can
uh,
go. Things can change so quickly.
oh my
yes.
goodness, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not something you thought of a year ago. You were going to be living in Rochester, New York.
Never thought I'd be back up north. Honestly, I prefer the cold to the heat in Florida. It was so hot all the time.
Yeah.
You had a couple months where it was a little cooler, but I did not enjoy that. I
I
like
Yeah.
always
being
just
able to go outside and move.
Yeah, I always think everyone looks like they are probably sweaty.
Yeah.
Well,
I officiate figure skating competitions, and when I'm at a competition in Florida, it always floors me. It's like 95 degrees outside. You walk into the rink, and there are all these Russian coaches there, and they are
Yeah.
draped head to toe in fur.
I
Walking
love
in
it.
from the parking lot,
I
they're
love that
committed.
you're doing that too. I just love
Um,
it.
how much fun would that be, huh?
I like
Did you
working with
used
the
to
kids.
skate? Did you used to skate a lot, Brad?
Yeah, I still skate. So I'm skating about 3 times a week now. So
Oh,
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
That's
yeah, I
awesome. I
said,
love it. Hi,
oh,
Jenny.
someone from
So
the West Coast.
I think Jenny is up
Oh, she's in North
north
Carolina,
too.
right?
No, Jen, aren't you up north in Massachusetts?
Oh, hi. Yep, I am actually in Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Jenny's she was a relation to my stepmom, right, Jenny?
I'm not, you know what? I'm not sure how it is. I just know that you're my cousin, but it's on the
Yeah.
McDonald side, so I don't know.
I keep having relatives that I don't see that I don't see most of my life.
Yeah.
This year's it's really cool though. So Jenny's in Nebraska. I'm sorry, I thought you were up north.
Nebraska.
It's hard to keep track
I
of
was in
everything.
Nebraska. I was in some horrid traffic jam at 99 degrees in Omaha, just trying to get through Nebraska.
Mm.
Oh my
You were just
God.
you were in the wrong spots. It's quite
I
lovely.
know. It's one of those things when you travel, you're like, I don't know, it seems to be busy all the time. It doesn't matter when you go through a town, but I travel a lot and I say if people don't even come at me about Boston. No, 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 no. Try Chicago, Minneapolis, Omaha. Oh, crazy traffic jams. Just
Omaha
walk.
is
Yeah,
horrible. I-80 is quite frightening with 6 lanes.
I
You
feel like
can't.
everywhere is now with
It's
the
horrible.
population.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's no more rush hour. There are cars out all the time. I go,
That's
I don't know what
true.
happened to rush hour. Ah, it is what
Okay,
it is.
are
But
you guys ready to start?
Yeah.
yes, and bookmark.
Jenny, did you end up finding it? The
I found it
clarification
on
of
the
terms?
Yeah, on the link that you sent.
Okay,
I just
good.
kind of like read over it. It's hard. My laptop, the way my computer's set up is I have a laptop, but then I have a big monitor. So I can't open my
Right.
laptop from my camera. So I
That's
apologize if
okay.
it's hard to hear. So I'm gonna kind of listen, I guess.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So last week we started and we read the introduction and clarifications of terms, the one mind spirit. So today we're going to start, and it's recorded. So we're going to I'll post the recordings every week. So if you miss it, you can always hop on and listen to the recordings. Now, is anybody comfortable with starting with a prayer, and would you like to or no?
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
good to go. Yeah.
Does somebody want to say it? I don't mind. I mean, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but
You're using the course prayer.
whatever prayer you want to use.
Can we do the serenity prayer?
Sure. That's wonderful.
Do y'all want to do the we version or
Sure. We can say it all together. If you know it, that's fine. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's been a while since I have done it. Where is it? It's at the beginning of the book, right? The
Not the
Serenity.
serenity prayer.
the
Oh,
I always
serenity prayer?
I don't think it's in the book, but we'll just say it. And if you listen to it, I always thought A Course in Miracles was a very long version of the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
yeah, it probably is.
So
Um,
we'll
you want
just
me to say
start.
it?
Sure. Why don't you just say it?
Go
Okay.
for it.
God grants us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Oh, that's Serenity Prayer.
The short
Yeah,
version.
that's the short version, but it's the same. It just says it's about acceptance, right?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
powerful to join together with you all in the prayer. So much more powerful than saying it just on my own.
Oh, it is. I love it. So thank you. Now anybody can start reading. It's up to you. You guys, we can
I'm
take
happy to
turns, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. Thank you.
the ego, the miracle. Illusions will not last. Their death is sure. and this alone is certain in their world. It is the ego's world because of this. What is the ego? But a dream of what you really are. A thought you are apart from your creator and a wish to be what he created not. It is a thing of madness, not reality at all. A name for namelessness is all it is, a symbol of impossibility, a choice for options that do not exist. We name it, but to help us understand that it is nothing but an ancient thought that was made, that what is made has immortality. But what could come of this except a dream, which, like all dreams, can only end in death? What is the ego? Nothingness, but in a form that seems like something. In a world of form, the ego cannot be denied, for it alone seems real. Yet could God's Son, as he created him, abide in a form or in a world of form? Who asks you to define the ego and explain how it arose can be but he who thinks it real and seeks by definition to ensure that its elusive nature is concealed behind the words that seem to make it so. I'd kind of like to stop there. Is that kind of the format that y'all use? Stop
Oh,
whenever?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just noticed this section where it says, who asks you to define the ego and explain how it arose can be, but he who thinks it real and seeks by definition to ensure that its elusive nature is concealed behind the words that seem to make it so, is a pointing for me, to an opportunity to stop. It asks so many questions, and it is only somehow seeking to validate a reality that doesn't exist by trying to have an unanswerable question have an answer. I was meeting with somebody last week. We're also going through this section, and a lot of these questions came up, and it was almost impossible to stop the train. It was like, well, what about this? And why is this this? And I remember Ken Wapnick talking about Helen asking, the author some question. I don't remember what it was. And him basically saying, you're not asking me a question, you're trying to establish a reality. And what I'm telling you is that what you're asking about doesn't exist. And you're wanting to know why it does. So I like that it says this because for me, it sort of takes a lot of courage to leave this question, this ego's question is pounding in my head, thinking that it's going to, by getting an answer, bring some sort of peace or solution. It's hard to leave that alone sometimes. And it's even harder when I'm not joined, with other people in this teaching, this journey, because that simply gives me more courage to say, I don't have to attend to that anymore today, and then just see what it does. Sometimes it just completely disappears. Sometimes it keeps talking. So that's what came up for me.
It's interesting because sometimes your camera goes out, Brad, and I was thinking of the egos, right? How it just comes, it's like,
And you
that's
look like
like
you
the
have big
ego.
heart ears. You look like you have big heart ears. I really, really like the way you express that with what Ken Wapnick said and stuff too, because it's kind of like when you deal with little children, with toddlers, when you tell them not to do something, and then it's like, but why? How come? Ba 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 ba. And it starts at birth. It's like we want it to be explained to us. And sometimes if you just sit, and it's, especially when you're doing the lessons and stuff, when you start off, how you have to sit with something for a while. But I always looked at, probably because I just read, I got this book here. I don't know if you guys have ever read this with Pam Grout, A Daily. a daily thing, and she explains stuff really, really good in there. But she, in like a humorous way, but I always look at it as like it's we're the ego. We're trying to get those answers because we want to make our reality real. And if somebody would just say, yes, that's the way it's supposed to be, instead of sitting with it and thinking about it, in our own heads, because we're good at hiding our stuff, which is all part of the ego. And I I don't know. I just love it. What is the ego? Nothingness but a form that seems like something. And
Yeah,
that's so perfectly said.
absolutely. That's it. To me, that's
Yeah, because
like a
sometimes
lightning bolt.
you can ask why till the end of time, and you're not gonna unless you get the answer that you want. It's not.
that, that your ego wants.
Yeah, that your ego wants. I want them to say this. Well, why did you? Well, how come? How come? How come? And so I love this.
Too.
Should I
This
continue?
this is yeah,
Sure.
sure.
I like listening to him read.
Okay. So next, there is no definition for a lie that serves to make it true, nor can there be a truth that lies conceal effectively. The ego's unreality is not denied by words, nor is its meaning clear because its nature seems to have a form. Who can define the undefinable? And yet there is an answer even here. We cannot really make a definition for what the ego is, but we can say what it is not. And this is shown to us with perfect clarity. It is from this that we deduce all that the ego is. Look at its opposite, and you can see the only answer that is meaningful. The ego's opposite in every way, in origin, effect, and consequence, we call a miracle. And here we find all that is not the ego in this world. Here is the ego's opposite. And here alone we look on what the ego was. For here we see all it seemed to do and cause, and its effects must still be one. Where there was darkness, now we see the light. What is the ego? What the darkness was. Where is the ego? Where the darkness was. What is it now, and where can it be found? Nothing and nowhere. Now the light has come. Its opposite has gone without a trace. Where evil was there, now is holiness. What is the ego? What the evil was. Where is the ego? In an evil dream that but seemed real while you were dreaming it. Where there was crucifixion stands God's Son. What is the ego? Who has need to ask? Where is the ego? Who has need to seek for an illusion now that dreams are gone? What is a miracle? A dream as well. But look at all the aspects of this dream, and you will never question anymore. Look at the kindly world you see extend before you as you walk in gentleness. Look at the helpers all along the way you travel, happy in the certainty of heaven and the surety of peace. And look an instant too on what you left behind at last and finally passed by. This was the ego, all the cruel hate, the need for vengeance and the cries of pain, the fear of dying and the urge to kill, the brotherless illusion and the self that seemed alone in all the universe. This terrible mistake about yourself, the miracle correct, as gently as a loving mother sings her child to rest. Is not a song like this what you would hear? Would it not answer all you thought to ask and even make the question meaningless? Your questions have no answer, being made to still God's voice, which asks of everyone one question only. Are you ready to help me save the world? Ask this instead of what the ego is, and you will see a sudden brightness cover up the world the ego made. No miracle is now withheld from anyone. The world is saved from what you thought it was, and what it is wholly uncondemned and wholly pure. The miracle forgives, the ego damns. Neither need be defined except by this. Yet could a definition be more sure or more in line with what salvation is? Problem and answer lie together here, and having met at last, the choice is clear. Who chooses hell when it is recognized? And who would not go on a little while when it is given him to understand the way is short and heaven is his goal?
Mm.
Does anybody want to talk about anything that stood out to them?
Yeah, it just, that whole section, it just clicks so much into place, and then as it clicks it into place, it disappears. And what it gives me is this solution to stop. I can stop wherever I am. And then I love this part. This is another solution. I love when it gives you just this concrete solution that says, just ask this question, are you ready to help save the world?
Mm-hmm.
And
Favorite part of mine is about the darkness. When there's no darkness, the ego's gone where the darkness was. What is it now and where can it be found? Nothing and nowhere. I mean, that to me, just to me is so clear. And then I love the part about this terrible mistake about yourself. The miracle corrects as gently as a loving mother sings her child to rest. Is not a song like this what you would hear? I mean, to me, that's just like a beautiful soul hug.
And then the very last line of that, would it not answer all your thoughts to ask and even make the question meaningless?
Exactly. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, these are always nice little nuggets in here. So
Yeah, I love it. Every time you read, there's a different little nugget that
hi,
comes
Charlie.
up. Hi, Charlie.
There's Charlie.
Charlie's going to show his butt.
Yeah, and he's the big guy. Can you get over here? Come on. I don't know where he came from. He was downstairs. Get out of here. Oh, you're a funny kid.
Feeling that miracle energy coming off of you.
He is. He's just really well, I have snacks right here.
Ah,
He's already had snacks today. You're already too big. I'm
After
fat
chewing
shaming.
boxes around
Yeah.
me.
Maureen knows. I was going to say she's probably covered with dogs.
They're chewing they get anxious and they're chewing the boxes. So that's practicing the miracle right now.
Yeah, there you go. Chew the box. Uh,
yeah.
okay.
And this question, who chooses hell when it is recognized, is also why forgiveness is just always justified. Um, because I would never make those choices if I wasn't confused in the moment.
Yes, I love the last paragraph too, of course, where problem and
Mhm.
answer lie together here. And having met at last, the choice is clear. Who chooses hell when it is recognized? And
Someone
who
who's
would
still,
know? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I just, just somebody who cannot see their light yet. That's who chooses hell.
Who doesn't
Yeah.
know any better? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I do like how, because we hear a lot through the book, the ego's, it's a dream. This is all a dream. And then in paragraph 7, it says, what is a miracle? A dream as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, it puts it on the opposite side instead of just constantly going, the ego and the darkness and blah, blah, blah. But a miracle is a dream as well.
And
But
it's
look,
when we're in, go ahead. Sorry.
and then it says, but look at all the aspects of this dream. So, I
And
really
it's all in the moment because sometimes we can be caught up in our ego and just react from the ego until, we finally step back and see, wow, that's
yes,
what I was doing. And I didn't realize I wasn't practicing acceptance. I wasn't practicing forgiveness. I wasn't choosing the miracle. I was choosing the
exactly.
path of the ego. And that's very
Yeah.
easy to do right
Oh,
now.
I think it's something that, we struggle with till probably our last day on earth.
To work
Mhm.
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, we're just always like, it's kind of like this thing with this cold that I have, whatever's going on with that. You can very easily put yourself in a um state of sickness and illness. Other than in this day and age, I'm not gonna go to the gym with this. I'm not gonna go till I'm feeling better. I was outside doing some stuff yesterday, and the neighbor walking around, and he's battling cancer and stuff now. He walks, and then he was going to come over, and I was like, no, 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 stay over there on the street. I go, I'm sick, and I do not want to make you sick. Other than that, and I think that's something that we all learned from COVID, like wash your hands, cover up, stay away, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think that
life, you know,
this whole life is about that, is about trying to choose to rise above, because otherwise if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be a need.
no, we would not be here, would we? Oh, Lordy. Uh,
Does anybody else want to read? Do you want to read, Becca?
okay, I'll read.
Because you don't have to if you don't feel well. It's up to you. I'm
Oh, no,
not
no, no.
making
No,
you.
it doesn't have
Okay.
anything to do with that. Just, I'm hoping I don't, at least I stopped blowing my nose 4,000 times a day. Now it's just down in my chest. It's moved its way around, so it's moving out. It's going back somewhere else. Forgiveness, the face of Christ. Forgiveness is for God and toward God, but not of him. It is impossible to think of anything he created that would need forgiveness. Wow.
Mhm. Mhm. Strong.
Yeah. Forgiveness then is an illusion, but because of its purpose, which is the Holy Spirit's, it has one difference. Unlike all other illusion, it leads away from error and not towards it. That's a pretty packed little paragraph there.
Mhm.
Forgiveness might be called a kind of happy fiction, a way in which the unknowing can bridge the gap between their perception and the truth. They cannot go directly from perception to knowledge because they do not think it is their will to do so. This makes God appear to be an enemy instead of what he really is. And it is just this insane perception that makes them unwilling merely to rise up and to return to him in peace. And so they need an illusion of help because they are helpless, a thought of peace because they are in conflict. God knows what his son needs before he asks. He's not at all concerned with form, but having given the content, it is his will that is to be understood, and that suffices. The form adapts itself to need, the content is unchanging, as eternal as its creator. The face of Christ has to be seen before the memory of God can return. The reason is obvious. Seeing the face of Christ involves perception. No one can look on knowledge. But the face of Christ is a great symbol of forgiveness. It is salvation. It is the symbol of the real world. Whoever looks on this no longer sees the world. He is as near to heaven as is possible outside the gate. Yet from this gate, it is no more than just a step inside. It is a final step. And this we leave to God. This is kind of a heavy little section.
Mhm.
Forgiveness is a symbol too. But as a symbol of his will alone, it cannot be divided. And so the unity that, huh? Oh, and so the unity that it reflects becomes his will. It is the only thing still in the world in part, and yet the bridge to heaven. God's will is all there is. We can go from nothingness to everything, from hell to heaven. Is this a journey? No, not in truth, for truth goes nowhere. But the illusion shift from place to place, from time to time. The final step is also but a shift. As a perception, it is part unreal, and yet this part will vanish. What remains is peace eternal and the will of God. There are no wishes now, for wishes change. I don't ever recall them talking about wishes. Even even the wished for can become unwelcome. This must be so because of the ego. Because am I missing a word?
Well,
This must be so because the ego cannot be at peace. But will is constant as the gift of God, and what he gives is always like himself. This is the purpose of the face of Christ. It is the gift of God to save his son. But look on this, and you will have been forgiven. How lovely does the world become in just that single instant when you see the truth about yourself reflected there. Now you are sinless, and behold your sinlessness. Now you are holy, and perceive it too. And now the mind returns to its creator, the joining of the Father and the Son, the unity of unities that stand behind all joining, but beyond them all. God is not seen, but only understood. His Son is not attacked, but recognized.
so
That was a
just,
big.
yeah, there's a lot in there, but I just want to clarify this. So the ego wishes and the spirit wills. So that
Oh, okay.
helps. Okay. And willing expresses creation, which is the truth, versus wishing, which is the ego. So I know, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Does anybody
So
want to
will
share?
is unified, and when we experience that, we know that, and wish is a split and feels like it goes nowhere and reaches to nothing because it doesn't, because it really comes from nowhere too, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, they both do, really. I mean, and they both, one will reflect right-mindedness or wrong-mindedness. The wish is wrong-mindedness, and the will is right-mindedness, right? Wouldn't
You
you
know,
concur? But
um,
there's a
but
lot in this, in
There
yeah,
this
is,
go ahead.
whole read.
that's a big section.
I feel like it's almost made it a little more complex than it needed to be at this
Oh,
point of their joining, you know?
so we have what did you say? I guess I had never heard it put that way before. The ego wishes
Yes.
and
The spirit wills.
the spirit wills. That's what it
So
was. Yes. I I'm a note taker.
no, yeah, I totally get it.
No,
I
it's
usually am.
helpful. That's
Yeah.
helpful, because it then, it comes into my awareness. I can notice that throughout the day and go, oh, and then,
Yes.
because the spirit is undivided, it has no, opposite to interrupt. Will is perfectly perfect.
Yeah, it's constant as the gift of God, is what it says in the reading you just read. It's
Yeah,
constant.
there you go.
And God's will is all there is.
It
Yeah.
is.
And this one section, that stood out to me. Or in the second paragraph, they cannot go directly from perception to knowledge because they do not think it is their will to do so. Of course, if I
Okay.
thought that I have whatever my confused identity thinks that it needs, then I don't think that I have a will at all, actually, if I'm identified with that. So, boy, that's been, that's tough when that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like you think you have to have all your ducks in a row to get this, and you don't because it's only an instant.
I always say it's in the moment. It's all in the moment.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's
I call it training in forgiveness. We're human beings. It's going to
yeah,
change and flow and ebb. I don't care who you are if you're on this earth.
Hmm.
Some are better at it at others and have more opportunity to live it. That's their livelihood than
yeah,
everyone. So,
that's a good section there, that one.
yeah, I love it. We have forgiveness is looking at our specialness with Jesus and Holy Spirit. To me, that simplifies it all. Instead of it can be so heavy and intimidating to some people, but it's simply looking with the eyes of Christ.
Yeah, I have found through my journey, I guess, of doing this that I've met all kinds of people, and stuff, and I find that the overthinkers are the ones that tend to fall away. Like where you'll read something and you could think about it, but when it's constantly wanting to use the right words, which is that's your ego, you know. Um, you just need to practice it. And it's nice to write something down because then you can remember, oh yeah, okay, pause, listen, look somebody in the eye and listen to what they're saying. I always remember, and I don't know who said this, or it's probably in the book here somewhere, is that somebody else, when you look your brother in the eye, you're looking in the eyes of God. Whether they're serial killers, your mother, your sister, somebody. So I always try to remember that and give when you're at the store, you know, just look somebody in the eye and say hi, and then it just helps to bring you back to what your piece is, and hopefully, because I get a lot of people say, well, you bring a lot of peace and you've never met a stranger, and I'm like, I don't know, I guess it's just where I'm at. It's taken 11, 12 years because I
Totally
know
get
I haven't
that.
got it. You should see my piles of books and crap, and I'm like, who do you give those to? I'm done with the 12 copies of Michael Murdad, and all that stuff. I'm kind of done. But I I don't give away my Course in Miracles book, so
Sometimes I'll
anyway.
buy extras and give them away, but
Oh, I've
if I
I've
find them,
given away a lot,
I'm
but
sure.
I got my basics. I got my blue and two purple. I still have an extra purple book, but they've all been marked up so much that I write in them. They're my
I always
books.
find when I write in them too, it reiterates it for me. It's almost like another
Yes.
lock,
Well, I had one
locking.
in my locker at work. So I kept a book at work. I had one because I go, it's too heavy to haul my backpack every day. I just left my book and stuff at work. So I'd have one there.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I worked at an crappy old power plant with a bunch of men. They'd be like, oh, she's doing her lessons. I go, you better let me do them so I'm nice to you today. I need to be reminded that you're my brother I love. So let me do that.
I love
We
it.
started. Sorry about that.
Oh, don't be.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yes.
Maybe.
We're going on to the
Okay.
next one.
4, true perception knowledge. The world you see is an illusion of a world. God did not create it, for what he creates must be eternal as himself. Yet there is nothing in the world you see that will endure forever. Some things will last in time a little while longer than others, but the time will come when all things visible will have an end. The body's eyes are therefore not the means by which the real world can be seen, for the illusions that they look upon must lead to more illusions of reality. And so they do, for everything they see not only will not last, but lends itself to thoughts of sin and guilt. While everything that God created is forever without sin, and therefore is forever without guilt. Knowledge is not the remedy for false perception, since being another level they can never meet. The one correction possible for false perception must be true perception. It will not endure, but for the time it lasts, it comes to heal. For true perception is a remedy with many names. Forgiveness, salvation, atonement, true perception, all are one. They are the one beginning with the end to lead to oneness far beyond themselves. True perception is the means by which the world is saved from sin, for sin does not exist. And it is this that true perception sees. The world stands like a block before Christ's face, but true perception looks on it as nothing more than just a fragile veil, so easily dispelled that it can last no longer than an instant. It is seen at last for only what it is, and now it cannot fail to disappear, for now there is an empty place made clean and ready. Where destruction was perceived, the face of Christ appears. And in that instant is the world forgot, with time forever ended, as the world spins into nothingness from where it came. A world forgiven cannot last. It was the home of bodies. But forgiveness looks past bodies. This is its holiness. This is how it heals. The world of bodies is the world of sin, for only if there were a body is sin possible. From sin comes guilt as surely as forgiveness takes all guilt away. And once all guilt is gone, what more remains to keep a separated world in place? For place has gone as well, along with time. Only the body makes the world seem real, for being separate, it could not remain where separation is impossible. Forgiveness proves it is impossible because it sees it not. And what you then will overlook will not be understandable to you, just as its presence once had been your certainty. This is the shift that true perception brings. What was projected out is seen within, and there forgiveness lets it disappear. For there the altar to the Son is set, and there is Father, and there his Father is remembered. Here are all illusions brought to truth and laid upon the altar. What is seen outside must lie beyond forgiveness, for it seems to be forever sinful. Where is hope while sin is seen as outside? What remedy can guilt expect? But seen within your mind, guilt and forgiveness for an instant lie together, side by side upon one altar. There at last are sickness and its single remedy joined in one healing brightness. God has come to claim his own. Forgiveness is complete. And now God, I'm sorry. You want me to stop there?
No.
Okay. And now God's knowledge, changeless, certain, pure, and wholly understandable, enters its kingdom. Gone is perception, false and true alike. Gone is forgiveness, for its task is done. And gone are bodies in the blazing light upon the altar to the Son of God. God knows it is his own, as it is his. And here they join, for here the face of Christ has shone away time's final instant, and now is the last perception of the world, without a purpose and without a cause. For where God's memory has come, at last there is no journey, no belief in sin, no walls, no bodies, and the grim appeal of guilt and death is there snuffed out forever. Oh, my brothers, if you only knew the peace that will envelop you and hold you safe and pure and lovely in the mind of God, you could but rush to meet him where his altar is. Hallowed is your name and his, for they are joined here in this holy place. Here he leans down to lift you up to him out of illusions, into holiness, out of the world, and to eternity, out of all fear and given back to love. I love that.
Mhm.
Whew, that was a lot.
These are always heavy. These
Yes.
good stuff though. That's really, really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's it lays it all out, and you know, I've seen this happen in my experience, and it just brings me back to that the section we haven't gotten to about the development of trust, and so you see it, you read this, and you go, oh my God, this has happened, you know, and then you can come to trust it more and more.
The pure experience of
Yes.
oneness.
Yes, yes, very, very much. I know that, when it comes to the trust and stuff, it's been years now that when something just doesn't feel right, if I have to effort it, I don't do it. Done. Whether sometimes it's a person, you just kind of, okay, done. Or because I had a trip I had planned, it's something I've been wanting to do for a couple years, and it's to go to Spain. I was going to meet up with a group at the end of September, but I wanted to walk the whole Camino. It's 479 miles. And it just came to me out of the, I was walking in somewhere last week and I was like, I don't really think I want to go. I can cancel it, I want to go, but this is just not the right time. 2025 is not the right time for me to go to Spain. I got to see what's going on. And I just listened to that gut feeling. I came home, I wrote her an email and said, I'm just not going to be able to do the Camino in September. I want to, because I want to go over there but I just it just came to me out of the blue. 99% of my stuff just comes to me out of nowhere. Like, I'm walking in the store, I go, I don't think I should go to the Camino. Why am I thinking of that while I'm walking around? But I go, it's a gut instinct because something was kind of gnawing at me. And when something doesn't seem right, um, because
Intuition.
yes, and you just kind of know, I don't see this with the love that I should be seeing it with right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that, gosh, especially the past few years, just so many, what could I say? Because we were talking about wishing and willing earlier. So
Hmm.
many of these seeming, I could say they were desires, but maybe that identity is gone now, and the desire went with it. That the desire spawned from it, it went with it. And sometimes because I still have the thought, I still may try to fulfill that. And then whatever the thing is, and I've noticed that I fulfill it and I am fulfilling it and I'm totally present and there's no mm, excitement or whatever it is that I thought that there was going to be. And it's
Right.
just now it's like, oh, it used to be like a worry when that would happen, but now it's like, oh, that's over.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what, I just said, I figure it's January, September, shouldn't be, any problem. But yeah, you used to just worry and you just go, no, I'm kind of done with this. Done. The only time you're really stuck is when you're stuck in traffic and there's an accident. You're like, well, in my mind, I can be done with it, but physically, I'm not done with it. It's still there.
So I always say that's my biggest training behind a wheel.
I
Traffic.
know.
Yeah.
My sister,
Traffic, driving, whatever.
Ugh.
my sister Bonnie's the same way. I'm just like going, what happened to all your spirituality? You're crazy. I
Yeah.
I I do almost all the driving. But it was just kind of one of those things like a year ago when I was helping her move back and forth to North Dakota. We were coming back and it was at the first of the year. And we were on 495 and I mean like we were flying. We flew, I think we'd left Indiana in the morning and we flew through New York all the way through. We were just going. Got on 495 and she goes, looks like it stopped up here. And I'm like, what? So we stop and we're sitting there and it is crazy traffic. And all of a sudden we see a helicopter land. I'm like, well, I guess we're here. We ain't going anywhere without it with a helicopter on the road.
Oh my
So
goodness. Yeah.
all you could do is just, and we both, said a prayer, a blessing for whatever was going on. And then we're like, could you guys go through the ditch? We'll follow you. We went, we'd been traveling all day. Yeah, you just kind of accept it. And you know when it's right, you know when it's wrong. And when, man, every single time, especially when you become aware of what your perception of something is and what it actually is, when that hits you, you're like, should have listened to myself, you know? So, it's kind of like when everyone's like, well, I was so looking forward to this and it was awful. I'm like, don't expect anything out of it, and
Yeah.
it'll probably be fun.
Yeah. A few years ago, well, it's been a while now. I did Byron Katie's School for the Work. So that was 10 days.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes.
And we were in this one exercise, and I would say that the school had been building up to that, and we were out like it was an outing outside of the Copper River. And I was, I had gone there with all of these hopes. Of course, it was all egoically based from my old self-esteem that I was going to go and fix myself or something like that. And so in the middle of and I was, had the work, I had the 4 questions and all of that, and I was miserable. I mean, I was so stressed. When I can inquire now, it's like I can see how scared I really was that
Hmm.
I was never going to get it. I was never going to be free. And luckily, I had the practice of forgiveness, and I had to use that instead of the word. And then I canceled my goals and my expectations, my hopes and demands that I should have done something different, that I should have been different ever, or that I should have ever gotten anything, or that I was supposed to get anything then. And the whole thing, began to collapse because what I was seeing, which this world in front of me that day reflecting back was somehow that I was, failing the whole exercise or something was based on the self-accusation. And then out of the self-accusation, I built all of these expectations that if I had, had this experience or gotten it or whatever, then it would disprove that. But that was the illusion. So I had to cancel the goals first. And then it began to fall away. And then reality came forth, which was that I
Yes.
was never, to begin with, I was never something that ever needed that. It was so old.
And I hear that that's intense. And when you go in without having a practice already, it's hard to develop a practice in 4 days. without any other kind of background, but the expectations of stuff like I'm going to be the perfect person when I walk out of here, right? You just
Mhm.
kind of like you already are the perfect person. You just don't know it yet. You are already perfect and whole. You just haven't seen it yet. So that's what years ago, and I don't know what happened to it. Did you guys ever see that little video? The cutest little damn girl you ever seen in your life? And she's about probably 4 or 5, I don't know. And she's standing in the bathroom in front of a mirror. She's got this crazy curly hair. And she's like, "You're beautiful. You're this. You're strong." And
Oh
she
yeah.
does all the affirmation. It's just the cutest little video. I'm sure I have it somewhere saved on my Facebook somewhere. But I always thought we should all be that little girl, right? And you got
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry.